Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special news show today, and we're going to kick it off with the NBA betting scandal before going to a massive cleanup and a big news story near our office. But before we keep going, my name is Max Tui. I'm one of the Roca founders.
I'm Max Frost, one of the other Roca founders, and behind the production booth today is Rob.
I'm not a Roca founder.
Yeah, but he's a Roca crusader.
Crusader.
You know what's subconscious is your mascot, and you're repping your high school mascot. They're Crusaders, right?
Go, baby. Yes, sir.
Your high school is the Crusaders.
Yes. Deus Vult.
Deus Vult. God wills. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what God was not willing, and that is a gambling scandal. Tough transition there, but we're going to keep going through. So basically, this is an unbelievable story, okay? So today, the FBI, Kash Patel included, the commissioner of the NYPD, Jessica Tisch, they announced two separate indictments related to NBA illegal betting rings. Now, the first had to do with player Terry Rozier and a couple others, including Damon Jones, who was a retired player, but then he became a kind of assistant coach, and a few others who basically tipped off bettors and working with, again, obviously criminal rackets to feed them bets. So in one example, Terry Rozier, in a game, I believe in April of 2023 against the New Orleans Pelicans, Terry Rozier at the time was on the Charlotte Hornets, and he left the game 9 minutes and 36 seconds in with an injury. Now, he told all the bettors and they put $200,000 on the matter, he told them to place bets on all of his unders. So basically, an under is a prop bet where you basically say, the Vegas will set the line. They'll say, we expect Terry Rozier to score 13 points. Do you think he'll score more or less? And he told all of you guys, bet less on points, rebounds, all the unders, minutes, all of it. And he said, I'm going to go out with an injury. And that's exactly what he did. And, you know, the bettors actually didn't get this money, and the NBA opened a probe, and they found no wrongdoing because DraftKings or FanDuel flagged these bets and was like, they're illegitimate, and essentially they kind of shut it down. So we thought we've kind of forgot about this, but it turns out he did many more bets. So did Damon Jones. And then the second, before going entirely into the story, is a poker circle with Chauncey Billups, who's the current head coach of he was before this morning, of the Portland Trail Blazers, a former NBA star. Also Damon Jones involved, and others, where they use some crazy technology to basically swindle money out of other people.
So Rob, can you scroll up here on the screen here? We've got the list of what is being alleged. Let's just run through this real quick just to get the facts of what the FBI is alleging. And again, these are allegations. There's a lot of evidence, but allegations. Tu, you know this better than I do. You want to kick us through it?
Yeah, sure. So the first point here is current and former NBA players and coaches Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones, have been arrested. There were two things. There was an illegal gambling and sports rigging operation. It involved La Cosa Nostra. I believe they were almost exclusively involved on the illegal poker side of things. There are two separate indictments. The first involved 6 defendants, and it was insider information. That's the one about betting the unders and all the injury reports. And another example, by the way, Damon Jones here, you can stay there on the screen, Rob, but in another example, Damon Jones said at the time he was an unofficial assistant coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is in 2023. The Lakers were playing the Bucks. He knew LeBron was going to be sitting out. It wasn't on the injury report yet, and he told everybody, bet the Bucks. He said, I want D. Jones to eat tonight himself. So he basically tipped off insider info. And then the second involved 31 defendants, and it was a high-tech, cheating tech scandal with poker games where they basically, again, swindle people out with. We're talking X-ray tables. We're talking about pre-marked cards. We're talking about hidden surveillance cameras. We're talking about all this. Those poker games took place in the Hamptons, Miami, Las Vegas, Manhattan. And they would basically use the Gambino and other New York crime families to hunt down the people who owed the money.
So what links these two different scandals?
Damon Jones is the only known link that I could find.
And who is Damon Jones?
Damon Jones played in the NBA. He was kind of nomadic type. He was never a star. He played with LeBron on the Cavs, I think, from 2005 to 2008 before LeBron went to the Heat. And he then became an unofficial assistant coach for the Lakers. And I guess was just this well-connected guy that NBA players loved because he was also Chauncey Billups, right at his side for some of these big-time poker games. So it's not clear what else ties these two together other than LeBron's role in all this. That'll be fascinating to follow.
So what's the talk? What do we know right now about LeBron's role in this whole scandal?
What we know about LeBron, besides him not being the GOAT, is that he is. It's also some people pointed out the way the NBA used to handle scandals, and it was a picture of Jordan playing baseball. But people thought he gambled, and that's why David Stern banned him to the minor leagues. But LeBron was again. Part of that one bet in 2023 in the Bucks game where he was injured. It wasn't on the injury report yet. D. Jones got the information and is reportedly, and this is what you put in quotes because we need to see stronger reporting on this, that they were friends. That's the rumor that they're friends. Is it possible that he was just an unofficial assistant coach? I'm not sure exactly how he got that gig. That'll be interesting to look into. And I would also be shocked if LeBron sort of risked his entire reputation to tip off a guy for something illegal. So I doubt he's involved, but if I may just say one more thing on this, Frost, on this point specifically, Chauncey Billups made, I want to say, over $100 million playing. Terry Rozier, even though he's not a huge name, he's made over $160 million in the NBA. $26 million is his current contract.
Wow.
I mean, people don't realize how crazy NBA contracts are. They're the highest of all the big four sports leagues. They're at about $12 million this year. It's insane. Terry Rozier got a bag, and he's currently, I believe, on the Heat. But anyways, so why did they do it is my question. It's not like they were making tens of millions. It looks like some of the deals were like a couple $100,000. I don't get it. So it'll be interesting to see what else we uncover here.
Well, and it's also like I haven't really followed the NBA closely in years, but as a kid, I remember watching Chauncey Billups all the time.
Oh yeah,
he's someone that we grew up with, who was always around, and here it is. And I didn't even know he was a coach now. So this just goes to show. I mean, this is these aren't like small. These aren't like small people. I mean, these are major figures in the league, and now this, which is wild. I don't know what else should we know. I mean, Rozier, like how big of a player is he?
I mean, big. He's the kind of like, score 15, 16 points. He was on that Game 7 Celtics team that he got the nickname Scary Terry. And I want to say he and Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart combined for 2 of 23 from 3 that Game 7. I just remember it being abysmal, and I hate LeBron, so I was going for the Celtics at Game 7. But long story short, he kind of became a star as a backup point guard. I think Isaiah Thomas was the starter that year, and he got injured, and then Terry got in. Anyways, he kind of became known then. Since then, he's become, like a rotational start on your team, give you 16 a night. So good player. I mean, not a star, but very good player. And just... I guess what else to know about this? A couple things. Number one is this. This might be the biggest scandal in NBA history. I was looking at a list this morning because I was like making the claim of what may become the biggest. The Tim Donaghy ref scandal that became a Netflix doc, a very popular Netflix doc a couple years ago. I looked it up. He made about $300K from all this. Kash Patel said this was a tens of millions of dollars operation. So this is a much bigger thing. The second reason that this is notable is here's his latest extension, and this year he was getting paid $26 million because they sometimes separate the payment by year.
Wow!
But the second reason, Frost, and this is what you immediately went to when you saw the story, is oh my goodness, the NBA and ESPN have gone all in on sports betting, all in. It's so funny to see Mike Greenberg. We can play a clip in a second. Him talking about the scandal with an ESPN bet banner on the screen.
Yeah, I'd like to see that because this is one of the I mean, the presence, you've written about this before. The presence of gambling in the big sports leagues now, especially the NBA,
unbelievable.
is insane. It's everywhere. You can't watch it without being hit with gambling ads.
Yeah.
Something that leagues stayed far away from. It was something that networks like ESPN would stay
keep
far
your eye
away
on the
from.
logo.
Those days are obviously long behind us. You hear a lot about legal sports gambling on this show. The Bussin' Boys, obviously sports gambling is a huge part of what you do, so we put those all out there as a preamble because it might be in the back of people's minds, and we acknowledge that this is a different time and
There it goes.
However, there is a fine line, not so fine. There is a bold line that obviously has to be drawn.
Is it just me, or has there been shockingly little scrutiny just into the gambling industry overall? I feel like of all the things that we talk about and that that have exploded in recent years, you hear so little in terms of like the media, the government, whatever, about gambling relative to the amount. Like, I mean, you can't like hang out with anyone anymore without someone actively betting while you're there.
Yeah, over $100 billion were placed in well over $100 billion in wagers last year. The gambling industry, I want to say, made 12 million or 13 billion. I mean, this is a big industry. 22% of U.S. adults have gambling accounts. For males age 18 to 49, I want to say it's 48%. It's just stunning numbers.
And keep in mind, in California, it's not legal.
Yeah.
So the biggest market, that's without the biggest market in the entire country.
I got to add that because I made the point of it's legal now in 38 states in D.C. In California, it's not legal. So there you have the biggest state in the country population-wise. Not even in this market.
Is it legal in Texas?
I don't know. I think so, but I also am not totally sure. I don't bet. Not to virtue say. The last time I actually, you were there. One of the last times I bet it was. It was on the UVA run in the Purdue game when Carson Edwards went off, but y'all snuck away in overtime. Was that the Diakite shot?
That was the Diakite shot.
Yeah.
That was an old timer.
But
so looking into this, connect this with the bigger themes here. So obviously gambling has exploded. Sports betting, you got about half of American young adults sports betting, essentially on a regular basis.
Yep.
Where does that fit in here?
Well, the story we should write also is about the gambling lobbies that emerge in every state legislature and then nationally. I mean, it was an unbelievable coordinated lobbying effort. These are some stunning stats on annual lobbying. So what are we seeing here? It's up to, is that 39? Am I seeing that right?
39.
$39 million on lobbying. I mean, it's one of the biggest lobbies in the country.
Is it?
Yeah, and people, it's also funny to think about this in light of the J.B. Pritzker news. I mean, like, the funny thing, though, Frost, is most adults don't like it. They don't like it getting into the broadcast. There was a Siena College poll that found, that's where we got the 48% number for 18 to 49 men, that found that most men don't like it creeping into the broadcast. NBA players in a survey by The Athletic say they hate the impact it's had on the game. And I think most people know I don't know if most people, honestly, for whatever reason, you're spot on, like, that people just don't really focus on it, even though it's so widespread, so endemic to different products now.
What do players, or what have players said about it? Because I imagine for a lot of them, and I don't even know what the regulations are. Obviously, if you're a player, you can't bet.
Yeah.
But can you hang out with people who are betting?
I don't know, dude. I bet you can. I mean, they certainly have been. I think people hate the parlays and people yelling at them as they get off the court, and the tweets and the social media comments, and basically people placing pressure on them to perform so that they make money. I think people hate that. I don't know what the regulations are. And the hilarious thing, Rob, can you look this up? I'm pretty sure college athletes, like a day ago, I also should include this in the piece, just got permission to place bets. I think that Heather Dinich, NCAA reporter for ESPN, just announced this like a day ago. And now here we are. There you go. So they can bet on pro sports. Yeah. But previously, I mean, you just think about that. Like,
I mean, it's just so obvious that mixing gambling with the leagues. I mean, you have the leagues promoting it themselves, and then you're expecting that the players and all these people aren't going to abuse the system. Obviously, they're going to abuse the system. It's moronic to me. But
totally.
I don't know.
There had been one guy who's already been, I want to say Dante Porter or Jamal.
Dante Porter.
Yeah, here, get him up. But he was suspended, and he would bet his unders too. I mean, basically the smoothest way you could do it, because Tim Donaghy, real quickly, and then we'll go on to other news and some fascinating developments around us that tie into some bigger themes. But Tim Donaghy, it's hard for a ref, surprisingly, to fix a game without it seeming super, super, super obvious. Tim Donaghy, what he would do is he'd get a star player in foul trouble, blow a whistle on him in the first 2 minutes, and that changed the entire dynamic of the game. And so he wouldn't have a perfect hit rate. But if you're a player and you're saying bet on my unders, which is what most bettors do, I think 78% of sports bettors bet prop bets. So things like, will there be a combined 70 points in the first quarter? Will Terry Rozier score 12 tonight? Those are the bets you can totally control, and that's what he would do. Can we end? Yeah, Jonte Porter was suspended. And
banned for life.
He pleaded guilty, and they're expecting like 4 years in prison. So, Rob, the last thing for this segment is some entertainment. If we can pull up a clip of Terry Rozier playing, I want to say the Cavaliers in alternate uniforms. And you can tell me, watching this clip, if you think Terry Rozier just go to Twitter and do it. Terry Rozier, and you can see if you think he's throwing this game, Frost. Let me know if you...
Which game is it versus Cavs?
Just type in Terry Rozier. It should be one of the top results. It should be one of the top results. If not, we can... yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay, check this out. This is him on the Heat, so that's one turnover. This is stunning to watch now. Stunning. Number 2.
Having a tough night. He's having a great night.
Look at that.
Wow.
Missing. I mean, air balls. Just totally short.
For those listening, this is just all one game in which Rozier just kept giving the ball. I mean, abysmal basketball.
Air ball. I mean, it's worth the price of admission. If you're listening, search Terry Rozier later. Here he is with the second chance, and he airballs it. I mean, 4 air balls so far. Anyway, so that's the final clip. Frost, what should we talk about next?
Well,
Jonte Porter was, I believe his name was mentioned in that indictment. They were saying that the Italian mob was leaning on him because of his gambling debts, and they were like, that's why. So he was implicated in this. Like, he was kind of the first domino to drop.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's why they got him, because he had debts, was apparently the rumor, and then he just sort of went on a tear with betting, and people were like, why is someone placing in a $150,000 parlay on his stats? And it was like, well, this guy who's scoring 4 a game is probably not going to hit 4 points, and then someone's betting a ton, and that got flagged. So, anyways, yeah, but that's crazy. Fun story,
Wild
crazy
story.
world we're in, and now we move on to another fun story.
Okay, so before we get into what we want to talk about, which is the massive ICE situation here in New York City, first, we got another controversial clip. Can we pull up the Cuomo? Andrew Cuomo has turned his campaign into just producing AI slop. He put out an AI video that is ruffled some feathers. We're gonna watch it. We want to. Oh, I'm curious what you think about this one too. So I believe they put this video up and then took it down.
Is it this one, the taxi
Really?
one?
It's the one I texted you.
I think that's it. The cab one. It becomes.
Yep, this is it. Okay.
Mamdani's
Let's
opponents
let it
want
ride.
you to believe he's an inexperienced radical whose policies will make New York City more dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
Give everyone a fair shot. Sure, he said multiple times we need to defund the police, but that was just a metaphor.
And yes, he did say crime is a social
That was
construct.
a pimp speaking.
But
That was an AI
also a
pimp.
metaphor.
His main backer, the Democratic Socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
Decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting.
That's a black man wearing a
Third-degree assault.
keffiyeh.
trespassing.
That's a white man beating his wife.
Prostitution.
Black guy is a pimp.
And drunk driving.
With plans to decriminalize all drugs, Mamdani will be a job creator for
White
drug
guy
dealers.
shooting up.
Instead of helping us homeless get off the streets and into the mental health facilities we need, he wants to give us safe injection sites to do crack and let us sleep in subway carts. These are actual
Black guy in a
policies
kafia
and the
robbing
DSA
a
want to
place.
implement on day one.
With a
When a
mask.
woman's
With a
being
mask.
domestically abused, she finally won't have to deal with some pesky cop to arrest the abuser, but now a social worker to help, kumbaya the situation.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Mom Donnie is finally lowering jail sentences. Guilty!
But Mom Donnie says you're free to go.
Who cares if legalizing prostitution statistically leads to an increase for sex trafficking of women and young girls by 70%?
You can't have safety without equality.
For unlawful abiding citizens like us, globalize the intifada.
Burning an American flag.
Burning an American flag.
I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
Yep. I'm a criminal.
For Zoran. For Zoran Mamdani.
Kind of inspirational.
Now Zoran is letting all the
I
criminals
didn't
out
have
of
a real
prison.
job until I was 30, but sure, give me the keys to the city. What's the worst that can happen?
Paid for by
Okay,
Cuomo.
I didn't see the closing scene. That's outstanding. It's New York on fire.
So what do you think about it? So I think the reason the ad has become so controversial is because it is just extremely stereotypical.
Yeah.
In every way.
Although I've never seen, this is like Trump when he said, I've never seen a thin person drink Diet Coke, but I've never seen a drunk driver who looks like that old woman. She's got like nice pearl earrings. She looks like she's out of a Norman Rockwell painting, and she's driving with Henny in the front seat. But
yeah, that was interesting.
yeah, I mean, what? I'm gonna kick it right back. Well, I can't avoid the question. We're not politicians. Let's go straight into it. My first thought was everything from Cuomo. I think an ad is only as effective as the candidate behind it in some ways. Like, he is so deeply unlikable that people will just sort of view this, and this feels desperate, that I think in terms of his delivering of this ad, it feels already like he's lost and is desperate and is throwing kind of a half-court heave, and just playing all his greatest hits and turning the volume up to 100. So my first thought is like that he's delivering it already undermines the ad. But then again, I do think that like the social worker with the two people doing the breathe in, breathe out, the domestic abuser, I thought that was pretty effective. And I thought the job point might resonate when you really think about it. Like Zoran's, the rapper working for his mom, then state assembly, doesn't like pass any major legislation. Like, he's never done really much.
I'm curious, Rob, can you pull up? I want to see side by side. So Cuomo just went on Impulsive. That's Logan Paul's podcast, right? Logan Paul's podcast. Well, Zoran just went on Schultz's Flagrant podcast. I want to see how the views compare on those two videos.
That's a great comparison.
Thank you.
It's 10x.
10x.
Okay, so this is Cuomo on Paul.
He's only got 56,000.
And Impulsive is not like a small podcast.
Impulsive has 4.8 million subscribers. Logan Paul is one of the biggest, influencers on earth. And this video has 56,000 views.
Yeah.
With Andrew Cuomo. Meanwhile, Zoran on Flagrant, 550,000 views in half as much time.
And that's just the whole episode. The clips from this have gone way more viral than Cuomo on Impulsive. Like, nobody's really shared that.
What do you make of someone like Schultz? He endorsed Trump, I believe. Whether he actually endorsed Trump or kind of passively did, I don't know. But we all kind of know he did. And then now he's with Zoran. What do you make of that whole thing? I
think that comedians thrive, and was talking to JT Parr, not to name drop, but he's a big Roca fan. From famously chatting, JT goes, "What up, counselor?" He's one of those two guys, and he was making the point because I was asking what's a comedian vibe right now, and he said they just love being the opposition. Like, that's where they thrive. It's never cool to be a comedian and defend the regime. So now that Trump's in office, I think they're so emboldened to be like Bernie, Thomas Massey, Zoran, anyone who's basically holding a finger to Trump and is kind of the edgelord pushing the envelope candidate. I think he is going to support. I will say this, Zoran. Some people are like, he's an awful candidate. Dude, he is very likable in those settings.
Yeah, he is.
Like, he gelled so well with the Flagrant crew. And they pushed him on some policies. And at the debate last night, he struggled to answer some basic questions about his education plan. And he, I think Frost, what's so funny about this race is everyone I know who's like supporting Zoran, they don't even seem to take his policies that seriously. They just kind of want him in there. Like he has run a vibes campaign.
It's the vibe. Yeah. It's the same exact thing that Trump did.
Yeah.
I mean, but then Trump got in there and he did it. And now people are pissed. I mean, Joe Rogan endorsed him, right? You had him on the show. He endorsed him. And now he's professing to be shocked that Trump is deporting people.
Yeah.
Which is literally number one thing on his campaign. I feel like it's the same exact thing here as Zoran. I think he's going to get in. He's going to try to do it. I think he's more handicapped, or handcuffed than Trump. Because what the city can do is largely dependent on what the state will let him do. Like raising taxes. You can't raise taxes in New York City on New York City residents without permission from the state.
Okay, so. Frost, do you think that Zoran's socialist policies, like his most unpopular ones, will be like his version of Project 2025, where he denies it on the campaign trail?
Oh, he's going to do it, dude. I'm pretty certain he's going to do it. You say his housing director is a communist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they get in there, they're gonna do it. I don't doubt that at all. I mean, everything I've seen about any of the people in his campaign, none of them are moderates.
No,
like they're the real deal. Kind of like when it's like Trump. Like, well, you look at the people who are around him.
Yeah,
there was no indication that when Trump got into office, he was all of a sudden going to turn back into like first term Trump. Like the people, he was Stephen Miller, and Steve Bannon, these people around him.
He said, I'm not going to do Project 2025, and then hired everybody who wrote Project 2025.
The funny thing about Project 2025 is when you point this out, you'll have these Trump people being like, but Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. It's like, well, he's doing it. And if you also atomize those policies and you present them, you say, President Trump says we're going to defund the Department of Education. And Trump supporters, I see this every time I write about this stuff. I see the emails. Trump supporters will be like, yeah, right on Trump, defund, whatever. And then it's like, then we're going to do this thing off Project 2025. Trump says we're going to do this. And they're like, oh, great. And then one by one, everyone's like, oh, great. Trump says we're going to do this. Sounds good. And then you're like, okay, now Trump is actually doing Project 2025. And they're like, oh my God, no. But, he doesn't even know what that is. The whole thing is just silly. But to me, I think Zoran's going to get in. And again, the stuff in that Cuomo ad, what's effective, dude, the main thing that I think, like, I would say most people I talk to in the city care about. I mean, obviously affordability is number one, right? But that's also not the main thing the mayor has control over, right? The cost of living in New York City is a function of so many things that are beyond the mayor's control. But what the mayor can certainly control is public safety, open drug use. Mm-hmm. I'd say those two things are like number one. Certainly that's the difference I've seen when I've lived in cities and I've seen the way it's changed under different mayors. Safety and drug use are like the two things that really come to mind. And I think that's what he will have control over. And I think that's what he will do.
Frost, when you wrote that DeCarlos Brown Jr. article, like how much is public safety? I would assume it's more of a state issue. Like wasn't Cuomo the governor? A lot of this bail reform.
Yeah, he was. He was. That's why I think. I mean, Cuomo. The idea that Cuomo is running as like a moderate. I mean, he's trying to win over like the blue collar New York voters or whatever. But no, I mean, public safety. What happened with DeCarlos Brown? It was not. I mean, that stuff's different. Like you're dealing with like the justice system and this and that. But in terms of like the policies around drug use, what you see if you go to like a city in Portland, the reason like Portland or Seattle or LA, the reason they're like this. It's a mix of the state and the city, but the city has a tremendous amount of power over what priorities the police have, right? They set the priorities for the police. And then they also decide how much backing the police have and don't have, how much money they have and don't have. And then therefore that in turn sets the thing for everything down the line. DeCarlos, I could speak less to. That's the guy in Charlotte who allegedly murdered Irina, the Ukrainian woman on the train. The one that I can speak more to is Cincinnati, where I know a woman whose husband was murdered there, and we learned about the story when we went down there. We wrote about it, and he was murdered by a repeat offender who was released. What the city did, this guy got out of prison, right? He had been in prison. I want to say 24 the last 25 years he had been in prison. 19 the last 20 years, something like that, over and over again on different kinds. The guy was clearly a sociopath. Kept getting in and out of prison, Every time you get out, commit another crime, go back in, and so on and so forth. When he got arrested, and then he got out, he did an 8-year sentence. He walked out, and then he was supposed to have to check in with like it wasn't a parole officer, but it was like that. And he's supposed to have to do that regularly. And he was on house arrest. He had an ankle monitor. He cut off the ankle monitor. He did not show up to his PO or the equivalent, and the city did nothing about it. At that point, it's not in the judicial system. It's in the city. And the city just declined to do anything about it. The judicial system is the reason he's free. And then once he's free, the city's the reason, has to go and do everything else. But what happened to that woman's husband is one of the most egregious. What happened to that family is one of the most disturbing things I've ever encountered in my entire life. And the fault lies with the city.
You know, Frost, you also made the point, I think in the Brown case, but in both, that the magistrates that a mayor might promote or encourage, they set the culture at City Hall, are so important because sometimes there will be a letter of the law and then it becomes the issue, but the implementation of it or the judgment calls from a magistrate will decide if the person walks. And also just incompetence. Like, he cuts the monitor in like February or something.
February.
And then he does the murder shortly, and then does a break-in twice in like one night. The Cincinnati case.
The police kept encountering him.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at the stuff, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean,
absurd.
It's insane. And what happened was this man, in the middle of the night, broke into this couple's house. They had moved from New York City down there and started a business. They wanted to own a home and they wanted to have a business, so they moved to Cincinnati, where the husband of the family was from. Guy breaks in the middle of the night. He attacks the wife. The man, who is a decorated military veteran, intervenes. He gets stabbed to death. The guy runs away, and that's it. And then the police come. I believe they arrested her, accusing her of doing it. And then they saw the security footage showing that it was this man. And then the next day they found him. Even though 3 months, in the 3 months prior, he had cut off his ankle monitor and wandered around freely. It's disgusting. I mean, it's worth reading the story. We can link it in the bio of the episode because this whole thing is
we should 100% do that. I mean, I think that Zoran's, I think a Zoran advocate would say, well, he just announced that he wants to keep Jessica Tisch, the NYPD commissioner, on. And so some viewed it as, okay, maybe straying from his principles. But every one of his close advisors is adamantly anti-police. He has tweets from the past saying that the NYPD are anti-queer and need to be defunded and racist.
The quote, I say, quote, wicked and corrupt. Who even says wicked? I mean, wicked's not an adjective I hear often.
I heard it the other night when I had to watch Dancing with the Stars, Wicked Edition. They did they did like pop adaptations of Wicked soundtrack. But side note, nobody really says wicked anymore unless you're in a Boston movie. But yeah, Zoran spiritually is anti-cop. If you dispute that, I'd love to hear the argument. Maybe you're saying, well, he'll moderate in City Hall. I think a lot of people moderate on the campaign, and then they go back to what their inner circle says. I don't doubt that he'll have some moderates and some longtime people. And, the other day, Bernie Sanders went on to Tim Dillon, and I watched a little bit of that, and they bring up Zoran, and Tim Dillon criticizes some of his criminal policies. And Bernie goes, no, Zoran's really, really smart. He cares about governing. And he came to me and really talked about how can we get things done and asked about my time being mayor of Burlington, Vermont, all this. And so is he going to be more practical, moderate? That remains to be seen. His inner circles would suggest no, but maybe. I don't know.
You can't govern a city without working with the police to some degree. So maybe that's just an olive branch with Tisch.
Well, yes, I agree. I mean, there will definitely be some cooperation. I don't think it'll be, he'll go into meetings with his ears plugged. But I do think that, if I'm a cop, I think your leader really determines, are you going to go after cases like the one on Canal Street? Will the city have your back? Are you going to, prosecute if you're, any attorney in the city? Are you going to prosecute crime aggressively, or is the investment in social? I think a lot of it just has to do with culture, and some funding decisions he'll make. We'll see what happens, but yeah.
On that note, we can switch to another New York City story. So, right outside our office, if you've ever been in New York City and come down to downtown, you've probably seen the fake goods market. There is all up and down Canal Street, right, which separates Tribeca from Soho, two of the busiest areas, most well-known areas of the whole city. There is a massive market selling fake goods, fake bags, fake Rolexes, fake whatever, jackets, you name it. And this market, traditionally, I think it was traditionally run by Chinese people. We're right next to Chinatown. And now it is a mix of Chinese people and African immigrants, especially people from like West Africa, places like Senegal and Mali and wherever. So in the last year or so, this market, we've been working in this area for 4 years now. In the last year or so, the size of this market exploded.
How much?
It became a bazaar. I mean, it was massive, and you'd have to walk through this to get to work. It was wild. And on the one hand, it was kind of the charm, dare I say, of like the area of the city. Like, you come to Canal Street, but then also you walk through it every single day. It's obnoxious, whatever. So I don't know if these two things are related, but Nick Shirley, a YouTuber who goes out and he documents protests. He's a conservative YouTuber, and went out maybe like a month ago, and he made a video with his camera talking to people on the street here. Yeah, this one. I confronted dangerous migrant scammers NYC. Is this the one where he gets punched?
Yes,
Did he get punched?
I believe so. Yes. Yeah, that guy.
Okay, so let's watch this because this gets.
Why are you mad at me?
Keep it pushing.
Why are you mad at me?
Take it over there somewhere else.
I am.
Yeah, you work for the fucking who you work for?
By myself.
All right, get out of here.
Look, I just bought some Rolex.
That's right.
Just bought a Rolex.
What's a Rolex?
It's a fake one. It's a fake one.
It's a fake one. Go to the fucking store and get the real one. Get the fuck out of here with your cameras. Snitch ass motherfuckers. But what the fuck is y'all here for? This is how the fuck we eat. That's how the fuck we eat. So get the fuck out of here.
I'm leaving.
So get the fuck out of here.
Where you come from?
Dildos for sale in the back.
I come from your mother, bitch.
Really?
You, bitch.
No, you didn't.
Fuck out of here.
Why are you mad at us?
Zoran's America.
We can be here on the street. This is public street.
I love how Eric Adams is
This our
America.
block, you bitch ass nigga. Get the fuck
This is your block?
Yeah, motherfucker. So somebody spend this motherfucker.
These guys sell weed, by the way. They're always out there. They
here.
sell weed by like the
Yeah.
by
I
the
don't have
nation
anything
jar.
to be worried about because I'm not doing anything
Yeah.
illegally. You see what happens?
We go to the beginning of it. So people, and by the way,
He gets punched here in a second.
Oh, yeah.
The streets of the United States. Then they shouldn't be doing stuff illegally. Then they shouldn't be doing stuff illegally.
That's not your fucking business what you do legally.
Hey, hey. Hey.
I will smash this bitch.
We're out.
Okay. So for those who are,
What if they start using that as the ad for the Meta glasses?
that would be great. That is a great way to film. If we can go to the beginning just to see like what the market looks like on most days. So for those, by the way, who are listening, Nick Shirley, the conservative journalist, his camera guy gets punched. He gets surrounded by people calling them out. But if we can go to the anything that just shows the market, because I don't think people like this is a side alley. The main area, it looks like this for blocks and blocks.
It's packed.
Packed. Okay, so this is going around the city. Yeah, this is like a typical. This doesn't show anything near the scale of it. This is what it's looked like for a while now. But it goes for blocks. It's a huge operation.
So Shirley posted this video a while ago, and I think a month ago. It's got 740,000 views. But certainly, if you lived in New York and you come down to this area, you'd have to have seen it. I mean, this video certainly made the rounds for anyone who worked down here. But yesterday, Shirley also subsequently he met Trump. He interviewed Attorney General Pam Bondi and I believe Kristi Noem.
I didn't see
HHS secretary, and he's been on ICE raids, so he's gotten plugged in with the administration. Well, now it just so happens that 2 nights ago, I believe, ICE came through and raided this place and detained all these people. And a bunch of them were illegal immigrants with criminal records. Now, what's really interesting is that the guy who was screaming at him for most of that video, most of that clip we just watched, ICE released his mugshot and his criminal record, which is really interesting. Rob, do you have that link?
I do not.
Let me find it and show it to you so we can just flip through it, because it's actually pretty enlightening. Like, again, regardless of what you think about ICE, you see this, you watch that video, and you're like, wow, this is kind of wild, like whatever. And then they straight up put out the.
That's DHS, right?
Yeah, here I just sent you the link. It's a whole thread with essentially the rap sheets of each of these guys they arrested, and like this guy, you see it, you're like, wow, he's really aggressive, and so on. But I just texted to you, Rob. Did you get it?
Yeah.
So basically, for us now, I know you're less into the Twitter spats, and that's amazing for your mental health. I'm so happy for you. But as someone who is slightly more into them, this actually has become national news. I mean, kind of like Zoran. Zoran is a relevant issue nationally because there are copycats already running and this and that. And in the Democratic Party has an identity crisis, and he's become like a major player who's changed the rhetoric and kind of firmly divided into 2 camps. Similarly, this is a big one obviously immigration raids, on sort of multiculturalism, because the debate is basically people saying this market was part of the charm of the neighborhood. And in fairness, I mean, you had talked about, which I didn't have this insight, like this had been going on for a while. But I'd be curious to hear your reaction. I know we have the picture up now, but just a question I'm putting out there.
Okay, so yeah, DHS tweets out this, Canal Street in New York City is now safer. And here's the first guy. So this first mugshot they have is of the guy who assaulted him. Scroll up so we can see his rap sheet. So he's got a lengthy, was ordered to self-deport in 2008, previously arrested for crimes including assault, recklessly endangering, counterfeiting third degree, unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, criminal sale of narcotics, possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana for sale, making false reports to law enforcement, resisting arrest. Go to the next one too. Just scroll down. Look at this guy's too. Next guy from Senegal. Domestic violence, robbery, receiving stolen property, burglary, fraudulent accosting, forgery, counterfeiting, sale of controlled substance, obstruction, blah, 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 blah. He was supposed to leave in 1995, overstayed his visa by 30 years.
Damn.
I wasn't even alive yet.
He's been living here legally longer than you've been alive.
That'll be the new standard for are you millennial or Gen Z? Were you alive when Mohammed, whatever that guy's name, was in the country?
So you can go down the list and whatever. And now again, I know, like, I'm not just saying whatever. And in fact, I'm not, like, I personally, on the one hand, walking through that market, it always pissed me off because they were in my way and, like, they turned the street block into like 1,000 people out shopping for fake stuff. On the other hand, like, you don't want to be a snitch. Like, I don't know, like making a video, blowing them up, now getting them deported. Then you see this, though, and you see the criminal records, and you're like, well, actually...
Yeah.
Like this wasn't just like Joe Schmo out in the street doing this, which is the narrative, right? And again, I think a lot of the people probably have no criminal records, right? They probably detained dozens of people, of which they put up, I think, 11 mugshots here.
A couple thoughts on that. Number one, I had an issue with it because I already hate slow walkers.
Yeah.
And it became like whenever my subway, the two I go to are both down there, and you have to like walk from our office to get to them. And keep in mind, these markets are, again, multi-blocks and, like, been around the corner. And they would have just a total crowd. Like, imagine you're leaving work, and there are these, on both sides of the sidewalk, you have white towels out with a bunch of fake goods. And it's hard to get past them. And I'm like, what the hell? And then they will be aggressive.
They're not friendly.
They're not friendly when you step on the white cloak. But, it's funny. We thought about doing a story on this. And... I think, my thought on it was, you don't want to shit where you eat. Like, we work close enough where, like, I wouldn't want to. But at the same time, I think also underlying, I'm like, I didn't want to be I was never this guy in high school that would snitch.
Which I think that's why the Republicans are going to overreach with this because, like, nobody likes a snitch.
Yeah.
That being said, there's also a thing here where I'm like, well, on the one hand, like, oh, it's unfortunate. I'm thinking about, like, well, it's the charm. They're also breaking the law.
Yeah,
they're selling counterfeit goods.
What they did to Nick, too, that kind of changed my attitude a bit. Like, when I saw, like, I'm not going to start, like, a Je suis Nick, movement, but, like, when I saw...
Je suis Shirley.
That's what it should be. But, we've run into Nick at various protests that he's covered. And he's hard... I mean, he covers them all. Like, But just seeing that was like, are you kidding me? I mean, sure, Nick was.
Well, these guys are idiots.
Filming
dude.
them. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, sure. The guy's up in your face with the camera, dude. He has no content unless you give him the content.
Totally.
They gave him the content, and then it got 750,000 views, and ICE came and raided their whole block.
Nuclear on Twitter, like those clips, millions of views on Twitter, and kind of changed the discourse.
But so subsequently, behind the block over here, yesterday there's a courthouse. And there were huge protests there, anti-ICE protests that got heated. And then Nick was there documenting it. And as he was walking home, Antifa guys chased him home and pepper sprayed him on his way home, I guess. Which
Je suis Shirley.
Him, like, yeah,
he's bold.
He is bold. And I mean, again, is it?
I also, he live streams this stuff, so it's not like he's cherry picking and editing.
Yeah.
I will give him credit for that too. I think some people are notorious cherry pickers. And yes, he may ask antagonistic questions and get some, but yeah.
I mean, the point is, he's a conservative guy. He's going to these protests to make content, and you should, even if you don't agree, don't support that, or don't like it, he should be able to do it safely. the fact is, he definitely can't do it safely anymore. I mean, some of these people, dude, given the chance, they would hurt
No,
him.
he needs security.
Yeah.
When he was in Chicago, they confronted him to the point where federal officers were like putting rifle lasers on his assailant's chests. Like
in
Portland, I think. I think it was Portland.
That was Portland. Okay.
I mean, he, you know, I saw a headline yesterday, Barry Weiss. I don't even know why we're roping in the free press again. We give it way too much airtime, but where she said she had 6 security guys. And I bet you she is the target of a lot of people. Like, there are a lot of people who hate her. 6 security seemed like a lot for her. But Nick with 0, or now I think he has 1 guy he goes around with. But I feel for him, man. I mean, especially after the Kirk assassination and knowing just how, I mean, if you don't think some members of Antifa are crazy and dangerous and very mean-spirited, you probably haven't hung around them. We have been to protests with them.
Yeah.
And so I worry a little bit about
one thing I would say, just
our boy Shirley.
Not to push back.
Push back.
I don't really buy the whole Antifa thing. I think they're like far left hooligans. But I think to be like, oh, like members of Antifa, and this is something, and Nick, he's like, you know, Antifa this, Antifa that. He might know better than I do. I mean, he obviously deals with these people a lot. You know, I've only been to a couple protests in my whole life. But, you know, this whole idea of like, what I do know about Antifa is it is not a hierarchical organization. It's not like it's Al Qaeda or like even like the Proud Boys or like whatever thing. It's just guys. I mean, you know, by wearing like the black mask and whatever, then people say they're Antifa. Maybe that's true, but also maybe they're just like radical lefties who don't want to be caught on camera and you know are up to no good. They put a mask on and they're not like they're not doing the thing standing in front of the flag swearing allegiance to Antifa. So it's
totally true.
You know, it's
I totally agree with that. I think you know they're not, you know, a paramilitary group that's like taking over. Well, CHOP in Seattle, but still that was like the craziest example. Were you saying?
I was going to say maybe we could get the flag up. We could get a little flag up behind here, Antifa flag, and swear.
We're allies. We're Antifa allies. I hope Antifa listening.
Antifa, we have no beef with you guys.
Brought to you. Have anything else to cover? This felt like a super fun, energetic episode. Not to again self-congratulate. That's for you all to decide if you don't think it was super fun. Well, it was fun for us.
If you did think it was super fun, hit the subscribe button because otherwise, what are you doing?
If you don't, also hit the subscribe button if you didn't find it fun. So
thank you very much for watching, and we will be back tomorrow with a special Friday edition of the RocaNews Show. See you then.